Hello and welcome back to Thomas's Moustache. Today I thought we would do something a little different, a little more informal, and we would just talk about some ideas I have. Now I've already filmed half of this video and found that the recording and the stopping, it just wasn't really working, so I'm starting over again. But I thought that we would talk about my magnum opus. Now you might be wondering, how do I know that I'm writing my magnum opus? The magnum opus is one's greatest work, the greatest work they ever produce in their whole entire life. It's quite lofty for a person to say that they're writing their magnum opus, because usually it's other people who tell them what their greatest work is, right? Oftentimes it's based on success rather than just what the author or the artist thinks. But I'll tell you why it's my magnum opus. Almost everything I do creatively is in preparation for writing my magnum opus. The story itself is called The King's Peacock, which doesn't tell you much, does it? But I'll tell you a little more about it. Those two plays that I mentioned in my previous video, those are a trial run to see if I'm able to write a play, a stage play, even if it is intended to be read rather than acted. I wanted to be sure that it was feasible, that I'm able to. Before writing those plays, I have not written a full-length play. Before writing my poetry collection, I had not written a poetry collection, so I want to make sure that I'm able to do this project, a trial run in a sense. So last year I wrote those two plays, Providence and Burnstar, and I also began work on the story, The King's Peacock. Now that's not to say that my previous plays that I've written are bad, because I did put all of my energy. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I had to run and grab the charger. The camera was dying, which is deceptive because it said I had 30 minutes left. Anyway, that's not to say that my previous plays were written poorly, or that I didn't care about them because I was only writing them to see if I could write them. No, I put my heart and soul into them, which is only proof that I'm able to proceed to further projects. Now, the project in question, The King's Peacock, it all started with this little tiny journal book here. In 2018, when I was working, my shifts were all messed up. I was getting more shifts, but I was getting more breaks as well in between shifts. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I began to fantasize about this project, The King's Peacock, which you can see is written at the top of the white box there. It's called, just says Peacock. I didn't use this too much. I played around in it a bit, but the story developed from there since 2018. Sorry, there's an airplane going by. So since 2018, I've been working on this project. At first, The King's Peacock was a single piece, you could say, just a single story. And then 1 became 3, and then 3 became 5, and then 5 became 10. The story itself, it is a single story, but it has 10 parts. There will be no more parts developed. It is complete now, and Since 2018, that's 6 years ago, I've been fleshing out the story to the point where now I'm ready to write it. The outline alone of this story is about 120 A4 pages long, so the details are already there. I just need to put it down from start to finish. Now, I am intending to write it as a stage play, even if it's intended to be read rather than acted. Over the years, I've told some people about it, and I've received some useful criticism, which would be that people do not want to read stage plays, which is true, right? Not many people want to read Faust Part 1 or Part 2. Stage plays are not easy to read because the amount of detail or description is much less than a novel. Not only that, but stage plays are harder to market. It's hard to sell a stage play, even if it is in book format, because people are not as interested. So of course I've been told I should make it into a novel or what have you, but my heart is set on the stage play. That is the perfect format for my story. It is going to be 10 parts, but it is going to be one story. The reason I say 10 parts is because it would be too big, I think, to be published as one book. So I think it will be split up into segments for publication. It would definitely be self-published, even if it is my master work. I don't think I will be able to find too many companies that will be interested in publishing it. But let's talk a bit more about that. So, for pretty much all of my plays, I do intend to self-publish them eventually, especially when I actually figure out how to work that side of things. Currently, I'm working on publishing my poetry collections with a publisher. So that's sort of where my attention is right now, but I do intend to self-publish my plays. Yes, I think for something like that, it will be much easier to self-publish, especially on Amazon or any other platform like that. The King's Peacock is going to probably take about 2 years to write and edit, mainly because I'll probably do most of it during the colder months, and it is a big story. I'm imagining that it is going to be, well, maybe 250,000 words, which is going to be rather long for a play. The main thing, though, is I have spent a lot of time on it already. I've probably spent maybe a few hundred hours just fleshing it out, making sure that it's perfect, because I don't want any one part of the story to be the main part, or I don't want one part of the story to be just very boring, because that part is in between two good parts. I want it so that every individual part can be read alone and appreciated. I don't want there to be any sort of situation where you're reading a part and you're saying, oh, this is boring. This is a boring part. So that is most of the difficulty that I've encountered, is even in my mind, there are some parts that are just harder to write than others. The outline, I mean, the story, right? Because you know that you want eventually to go here, but the in-between part is a bit difficult to fill in. So that is the essential preparation that I've had to do so far, is to prepare the story for writing. With that being said, the story should be not too long to write, 2 years as I said, because I have spent the previous 6 years on getting the story down in an outline format and developing it so that only writing itself, I already know everything that is going to happen. When it is finished, which will be a while from now, I hope to tell you more, especially to give you some updates perhaps over the next year. But by the time this video is published, I will probably already have begun writing, because I assume this video will be published in October. So the weather should be very comfortable for me to be at this desk for a long time. Yes, so that is my intention, and we'll see if anything suffers because of it. But as I think the most important thing is that you stay true to your vision. So even if it is not the most marketable idea, I do think that your work will speak for itself. And that is what I hope to achieve. So if you found this video interesting, let me know. And until next time, I'll say toodaloo.